I think what they have to realize is that like you said, the more structured the calendar will set you free. It's an incredible productivity tool. And I know, and as you do, if it does not make the calendar, it does not happen. We have the best of intent. Our intent is on point. But if we're not utilizing the calendar, and for me, I am detailed, I am specific, I have as much information in there as possible, like this call, like all of your information, the headline, the talking points, everything's in the calendar. It's in the calendar invite. The link to get on this call is in there. Things in my calendar are color coded. I know, like you said, the non-negotiables, those are in red. Guess what? Whoever has access to my calendar and they want to try to schedule something, if it's in red, guess where I'm going to be? I'm going to be wherever what's in red, like you said, like
red, yeah.
date night, right? Non-negotiable. It's in red. Like, I don't know what y'all thinking. That's where I'm going to be. And so I think that's so important. The faster that you can embrace the calendar and get everything in there, you will see your productivity, your focus drastically go through the roof. And I think what real estate agents need to understand, and salespeople are the same way, coaches are the same way, most coaches are the same way. We are more, you can either be project or process, some hybrid, but we have we lean one way or the other a lot stronger. So a project-based person, which is salespeople, coach, like we love like the variety. We love everything is different. Every real estate transaction is different, right? We're dealing with different situations, different goals, different. It's just different. We love that, right? And we love bringing it to closure. And then the other side is a process person, right? Hey, I need a starting, I need a middle, I need an end, I need to know kind of going through there. The downside of the process people is they're afraid to fail, right? Like, man, if I don't, I'm going to fail here. Well, the downside for us project people is that we tend to overcommit and we lose focus. The beautiful thing with the calendar will allow us to focus.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you tell your agents, I would always be like, show me your calendar. I know what your revenue situation is going to be in 60, 90 days. Let me see your calendar. I know, right? Your calendar tells the story.
100%. And you know, we live in a 30, 60, 90 day business, right? And so if you tell me what you're doing today, I'll tell you what you're doing in 30, 60, 90 days from now.
Yeah.
Right. If you're telling me you're out golfing today, cool. I don't know if you'll be able to afford golf 30, 60, 90 days from now.
Right.
Right. Now that doesn't mean
every day.
that doesn't mean you can't go golf, right? That means if you're on the golf course every day though, like, and you're hoping that, you know, I'm going to strum up business, like the caddy's going to buy a house, maybe, I don't know. But so I can tell you what you're going to do based on what your calendar is. Right.
Yeah.
And again, putting everything in there that's important to you. Like you said, like if I want to, if it's date night, right? I want to put date night in there because that's important to me. Those are the things that are non-negotiable for me. And you can have more freedom with real estate than you can. But the funny thing is, and you hit this too, if you worked real estate like a 9 to 5, you would make more money than 90% of real estate agents out there.
Facts.
You just worked at 9 to 5.
Facts.
That's it.
Facts.
That's it. And it's amazing how we get into it and say, well, I got into this for my freedom, which there is truth to that, because, you know, I can, if I decide to drive my son to school in the morning, I can do that. I can just back up my morning a little bit. I can adjust my morning and I can drive him to school. Yeah. Not a big deal. I have the ability to do that. Now, when I was in the corporate world, I didn't have that ability. I had to be in the office at, 8:30. I had to be there till this time. There was no flexibility with it. And I think with the beauty of real estate and what we do as entrepreneurs is we have some flexibility with it, but then no one tells us that we actually own a business.
Yeah.
No one says when you go get a real estate, and I think this is one of the biggest things we do in our industry, is we don't explain that to agents that get into the industry early. We don't tell them like, hey, you're going to go get a real estate license. You're going to pass your test and they're going to hand you a business. This isn't just a job, right? They're giving you your own business. You're a 1099. You can walk in any door you want and they'll bring you in, right? There's a million brokerages out there they'll bring you in. But what does that mean? Like, what does that look like to you? And like you said, people get into this because they're like, oh, I'm going to get into real estate because it looks like so much fun on HGTV, and then I'm going to flip houses, and then I'm going to do this thing, and then I'm going to do that thing, and all this stuff starts to happen, and then nothing is happening. And I call this when agents don't follow their plan, and agents don't follow their calendar. I tell them, I'm like, you're in business quicksand,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sinking faster and the more you're flailing around, the faster you start to sink. So now you have to streamline everything.
Yeah.
What are your money making activities, and do those first?
Yeah.
Then let the other things happen throughout the day. And again, you're gonna have to put fires out here or there. You're gonna have an upset client or a deal that's rocky that you're gonna have to step in on and do some different things. But if you just stay diligent with your calendar, you'll figure out how much more smooth everything can get. And it's funny. So we just had our team meeting yesterday, and the agents on my team said, hey, can we do another 90-day business plan? We're getting ready for the fourth quarter, and they all want to sit down and do a 90-day business plan with me. And which I was going to put it on the calendar anyway, but they asked for it. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, hey, the fourth quarter's here. If all the signs that are pointing correctly, if we do get this rate drop in September that they're talking about, if that happens, this market's going to be, they all want to stay on top of it. So now it's like, now we're just becoming this force together where they're like, hey, I want more, because they know it works, right? And then again, the FOMO, right? You create that FOMO of like, when agents aren't doing it, they're like, hey, what are those guys doing over there, and why are they having success and I'm not? What is happening over there? And that's when it really starts to be in the sweet spot of everything.
It is. And that's kind of the cadence, right? We have these goals, a little bit longer out, it's kind of becomes part of the vision, right? The mission we're on, what's that, big, hairy, audacious goal we're in pursuit of, which should be freedom, right? Freedom of time and being able to spend and do what you want and living closer to that perfect day. And I think, the quicker that real estate agents can realize that, they're all the head of their own business, right? That's the whole agent to CEO concept. And it's to your point, right? Most people, start out in some type of employee fashion, and then, they make the jump into real estate and they become self-employed. And the faster that they can move from self-employed to business owner mindset, that the better off they're going to be, and they can withstand the season. They can build a lifestyle business. That's nothing wrong with that. But you understand that you're going to ride the seasonal roller coaster. And when things get tight, if you've built this lifestyle, that's where a lot of agents get in trouble. And so the quicker you can get into that business mentality, and you can be an agent on a team, right? You can be an agent on your team. You can be an agent on Mark Z's team, but you're still the CEO of your own business, and you need to treat it and run it like that. And that's where the allocation of that time goes into the calendar on the activities that, are going to move my business forward. And I love what you said, because it's so true, right? Especially in this business.